Time and time again, we recognize a need that seems to throw our era into the shadows. A need that often is ignored and masked away through pointless consumption and useless indulgence in selfish pleasures. A need that seems to shake our world into division and disputes, shattering our communities and dissolving our individuality. A need that every now and then ends up with a desperation scream that asks, "Where are all the good men?" and that demands real men instead of scared pygmies with the heart of a jellyfish. As the world cries in silence, look no further, friend, because the man that is wanted, you have him at hand. This man is you, it is I, it is each one of us, if we just dare to perfect him and bring him out to the game of life. The only question that remains is what kind of a man the world around us demands. The world needs you to be a man who will not lose his individuality in a crowd. A man who has the courage of his convictions, who is not afraid to say no when everyone else says yes. The world wants you to be a man driven by a mighty purpose, who will not permit his great vision to cripple his manhood, who will not allow the overdevelopment of some skills to paralyze his other faculties. A man larger than his calling, who considers such an endeavor a low estimate of his life and who values it merely as a means of getting a living. The world asks of you to be a man who sees instead self-development, education and culture, discipline and taking action, character and manhood as his occupation. A well-balanced man who will never allow the curse of some little defect or weakness to cripple his usefulness and nullify his powers. Whether the world for you is represented by your family, your community or something bigger than that, be daring, friend, and answer this calling of the world. Challenge yourself to become a man who is symmetrical and not one-sided in his views. A man who refuses to let his college education spoil him from practical everyday life. A man who mixes common sense with all his arguments, who prefers substance to appearance and who recognizes that his name and his reputation are a priceless treasure. In our modern times, when plastic screens and colorful images hypnotize the men of the world and dictate how one should act and think and be, remember, friend, that a man is wanted. A man who is full of life and passion, but whose passions are trained to obey his strong will. A man who is a servant to his gentle consciousness, who loves all beauty from art to nature and who hates all wickedness, respecting others as himself. Accept this challenge and become a man who is educated far and wide, a man whose senses are brought to their acutest sensibility with a mind that is cultured, curious and concise, but who is never afraid to get down and dirty, whose hands are rough and skilled in many domains, whose eyes are always sensitive and alert, analyzing every detail through the lenses of his honest, gentle and true heart. Your world is in need of such a man, and if you dare to look around you, you will be faced with a sad sight. Seeing every year thousands of students graduating from prestigious institutions, whose mere purpose should be to build up fearless, independent, self-supporting men. Institutions who send young men to walk into the world shaking instead of strong, acting like indoctrinated memory banks instead of having their own line of thinking, helpless and weak instead of dependable and strong. Dare to not look away, friend, and have the courage to put yourself under the spotlight and understand that your character takes on the nature of your body and mind. A childish, cranky, weak man can never develop the power and strength of character, which is possible to a mature, cheerful and robust man. If you find yourself wanting, if you know that you are coming up short, and if you always look at yourself in the mirror with an attitude of disrespect, know that there is a built-in desire in your mind for completeness, an automatic demand which tells you that, as a man, you should come up to the highest standards and be at the top of your condition. Never fear such expectations, friend, and dare to embrace them wholeheartedly. Use every tool at your disposal, discipline, education, experience, to develop yourself into a mentally influential, morally steady and physically strong man. Become a man with a fixed determination that dictates that every statement that you make shall be the exact truth, that every promise that you make shall be fulfilled to the letter, that every appointment shall be kept with the strictest devotion and full regard of other people's time. Hold your reputation as a precious treasure. Dare to feel as if the whole world has its eyes upon you, your wife, your children, your community, as if you must not deviate not even an inch from the truth and from what is right. If you will choose to take such a stand for the outcome of your actions, friend, you will have almost unlimited appreciation and the confidence and trust of everybody who knows you. And let me tell you that there is no greater treasure than that. Take a moment to imagine what your life would look like with such an approach. What could you accomplish with such righteous deeds, with a face that never shivers in the face of adversity, with a voice that never trembles with fear of exposure, and with a heart that might be turned inside out and tortured to death, without disclosing not even 1 ounce of dishonor? How would your life be if you would embrace truth and honesty, if you would do no wrong intentionally, if you would put your name on no paper or behind no action that has not been filtered through your unselfish, kind and tender heart? Dare, friend, to walk and live unseduced by temptation, fearless to explore the world and curious to always seek the truth. Learn to live within arm's length of what is yours and share your kindness, knowledge and experience with everyone around you while holding nothing between your desires and their gratification but the invisible code of integrity and virtue. Will you be bold enough to answer the call and become a man of character and strength, a man of your word, a man whose mere presence represents a fountain of hope, trust and empowerment? Or will you choose to remain in the shadows, scared, fearful, and full of regrets? The choice is yours to make.